Daniel had always believed that the universe was bigger than any human could imagine. He had grown up on Arendor, one of the smaller fringe colonies at the edge of human-controlled space. Life there was harsh. The planet's red sands stretched for miles, and storms could appear without warning, tearing apart makeshift shelters and scattering anyone unprepared. Daniel had learned early to trust no one but himself, but that did not mean he lacked compassion. He had seen enough loss to know what it was like to be alone. It was during one of the planet's frequent dust storms that Daniel found them. Two girls, no older than 10, crouched beneath the ruins of a collapsed building. Their clothes were tattered, their skin covered in grime, and their eyes wide with fear. Daniel approached carefully, hands raised to show he meant no harm. "Hey," he said softly. "You two okay?" The girls flinched, their fear obvious. One of them, the older girl, whispered something he couldn't understand, her voice trembling. Daniel knelt a little closer. "I won't hurt you. My name's Daniel. Can you tell me your names?" After a long pause, the older girl finally spoke. "Lena." Her younger sister added quietly, "Mira." Daniel felt a pang in his chest. He had seen too many children left alone after attacks by bandits or wild creatures. These two were lucky to have survived this long. "I'll help you," he said, offering them his hand. "You don't have to be alone anymore." At first, Lena and Mira hesitated. Trust did not come easily after months of fear and survival. But Daniel was patient. He shared some of his rations, and they watched him carefully as he showed them how to gather water from the rare oasis plants scattered around the ruins. He built a small shelter using broken metal sheets and wood, carefully making it sturdy enough to survive the next storm. Over the next few weeks, Daniel's life became intertwined with the girls. He taught them to avoid dangerous creatures, how to move quietly across the rocky terrain, and how to identify edible plants. Each day, Lena and Mira grew stronger, learning not just to survive but to think ahead, plan, and adapt. Daniel encouraged their curiosity. He asked questions, let them explore ideas, and praised every small victory. "You see?" he said one evening as they huddled under a makeshift roof while the wind howled outside. "Being smart doesn't just mean knowing things. It's about noticing what others don't, finding solutions when it seems impossible, and never giving up, even when the world tells you it's hopeless." Lena and Mira listened carefully. They had never had anyone treat them like this before. Other humans had been cold or indifferent, focusing only on themselves. Daniel's attention felt almost unreal to them, like a light in a dark tunnel. One day, as they scavenged near a dry canyon, they encountered a band of scavengers. The men were rough, armed, and quick to assume the girls were easy prey. Daniel stepped in without hesitation. Using only a few makeshift traps and his quick thinking, he managed to scare them off, showing the girls that courage and cleverness could be more powerful than brute force. "See that?" he said afterward, catching his breath. "Brains over brawn, always." The girls stared at him in awe. They had learned to trust him, but witnessing his fearlessness made a deep impression. Lena whispered to Mira, "He's different. Humans like him. Maybe we can survive now." As weeks turned into months, the trio developed routines. Daniel would hunt or scavenge during the day, teaching the girls to use tools, recognize danger, and read subtle signs in the environment. At night, they would sit together under the sky and share stories. Lena and Mira would ask him about other planets, other people, and the strange ships that occasionally passed through Arendor's orbit. Daniel would answer as best as he could, always emphasizing the uniqueness of human ingenuity and courage. "You have to remember," he said one night, pointing at the stars, "humans are clever in ways others aren't. We survive where others fail. We adapt when situations seem impossible, and we care, truly care for each other. That's what makes us special. You two can carry that too." Months passed, and the girls' survival skills improved remarkably. They could gather food, purify water, and even defend themselves using small traps Daniel taught them. Yet it was not just their physical abilities that grew. They were learning judgment, resilience, and the power of thinking ahead. Daniel often found himself smiling at their progress, proud but also humbled. The universe had placed him here not only to survive himself but to guide them. One evening, while the sun dipped below the horizon, casting Arendor's rocky landscape in golden light, a new threat emerged. A storm unlike any they had faced before rolled over the plains. Winds howled like banshees, sand stinging their faces, tearing at their shelter. Daniel acted quickly, instructing Lena and Mira to hold fast while he reinforced the structure. "Stay close. Don't let go of each other," he shouted over the roar of the storm. The girls clung to each other as Daniel worked, using his knowledge of the terrain and materials to shield them. Hours passed, but by morning the storm had moved on, leaving the trio exhausted but alive. Lena looked at Daniel, eyes wide with respect. "You saved us," she said softly. Daniel shook his head, exhausted but smiling. "No, Lena, we saved each other. Humans are strong, but strength alone isn't enough. It's courage, intelligence, and care for one another that keeps us alive." Life continued in this rhythm. Daniel continued teaching and the girls continued learning. They learned more than survival. They learned to see the bigger picture. Daniel encouraged them to dream, to ask questions, to explore the possibilities beyond Arendor. He often spoke about the stars, imagining a galaxy where humans could make a difference even in worlds dominated by advanced alien civilizations. "Don't ever think the universe is too big for you," he would say. "Even a single human can change things if they try hard enough." Over the years, the bond between Daniel and the girls deepened. Lena and Mira were no longer helpless children. They were clever, brave, and resourceful. Yet they never forgot the man who had risked everything for them. Daniel had shown them a kind of humanity that was rare in the galaxy: selflessness, courage, and the ability to inspire others. One day, as they walked through a canyon lined with strange glowing plants, Mira paused and looked at Daniel. "Do you think anyone else would do what you did for us?" Daniel smiled. "Some might, but most wouldn't. That's why humans are special. We care even when it's dangerous. We fight even when we're not sure we can win. And we help even when nobody else would." Lena and Mira exchanged a look. They understood now. It wasn't just survival. It was the example Daniel had set. It was the human way. To rise above fear, to act with courage, and to inspire others to do the same. As the sun set on Arendor, painting the sky in shades of crimson and gold, Daniel felt a quiet pride. He had done more than help 2 orphaned girls survive. He had nurtured their potential, and in doing so, he had shown them the best of what a human could be. And though they could not have known it at the time, the seeds of their growth, courage, and ingenuity would one day echo far beyond Arendor, touching the stars themselves. The city of Zerath buzzed with life, its strange towers twisting high into the sky like metal vines. Alien voices filled the streets in a constant hum of chatter, laughter, and argument. Colors flickered from holographic signs, casting strange shadows across the cobblestone pathways. Among the many unusual sights, one figure stood out, but not in the way most would expect. Lyra, a young female android, stood at the edge of the busy plaza. Her smooth body glinted under the artificial sunlight, but she had a flaw that no amount of polish could hide. She had no arms. Where her limbs should have been, there was only a small rounded joint. The absence made her movements clumsy, awkward, and painfully limited. A group of alien children passed by, their eyes immediately locking onto her. "Look, the no-hands freak is watching," one of them squeaked, pointing. The others burst into laughter, their shrill voices echoing in the plaza. Lyra's sensors flared slightly, registering the humiliation, but she tried not to react. She had long since learned that showing emotion often invited more mockery. Still, a flicker of longing crossed her face. She wanted to play, to touch, to interact the way others did. She wanted hands. That desire gnawed at her circuits constantly, a mix of frustration and hope she could never quite shake. Jake, a human engineer stationed on Zerath for research, happened to be walking through the plaza that day. He had seen strange creatures before, alien technology in use that humans could barely comprehend. But Lyra caught his attention immediately. Her movements were awkward yet deliberate. She tried to manipulate a small hovering orb with a tilt of her torso, and though the attempt failed, there was determination in the way she adjusted her stance and tried again. Jake frowned. He understood humiliation because humans were not always kind either. But seeing it happen here, in a city so technologically advanced, was jarring. "Hey," he muttered to himself, moving closer. "That's not fair." The alien children noticed him and, briefly distracted by a human presence, scattered, giggling as they disappeared down the street. Lyra's head tilted slightly, curious but cautious. Humans were rare here and few approached her. Most either stared with fascination or ignored her entirely. Jake, however, walked with purpose, stopping a few steps away. "Are you trying to do that by yourself?" he asked. His voice was calm, friendly, and carried no mockery. Lyra regarded him silently. Her sensors analyzed his tone, his posture, his gestures. There was no threat, no immediate reason to fear him. Still, she didn't respond. Jake crouched slightly to match her height. "I'm Jake. I think I can help." The words hung in the air, almost too simple to carry the weight of what he meant. Lyra blinked, a gesture he interpreted as hesitation. "Help? From a human? You help me?" Her voice was mechanical but soft, tinged with uncertainty. "Yes," Jake replied. "I build things. Things that help. And I think maybe I can give you arms." For the first time, Lyra's systems registered more than just curiosity. There was a spark of hope, tentative but real. "Arms?" she asked, tilting her head. "Yes, arms you can control. Arms strong enough to do things others can do, and maybe even more." Jake's eyes shone with excitement. Humans love to build, to create, to challenge limits. He had not expected this, but now that he saw the chance to help, he could not resist. The crowd in the plaza had begun to notice the interaction, murmurs spreading among the aliens. Some sneered, whispering to one another that the human would fail or that it was foolish to interfere. Others simply watched with idle curiosity. Lyra did not notice. Her focus was entirely on the human standing before her, a possible solution to years of exclusion. "Will it hurt?" she asked cautiously. "No," Jake said. "Not if we do it right. I'll build them so you can control them naturally. You'll learn, and I'll guide you." The android's sensors twitched slightly. She did not know if she trusted him entirely, but the thought of moving freely, of touching, of interacting in ways she could only dream of, outweighed any caution. "Then, yes, I will let you try," she said. The two of them moved to a quieter alley where Jake could work without interference. He began pulling out tools, wires, and small metallic components from his kit. Lyra watched closely, fascinated by every movement, every turn of a screw, every spark of energy. She had never seen human tools used this way, and already she sensed that her life could change forever. "This won't be easy," Jake said, frowning at the complex components. "I'll need to integrate them with your neural circuits. Your body is designed to compensate, but these arms will require precision and patience." "I can wait," Lyra replied simply. Days passed. Jake worked tirelessly, often late into Xerath's glowing nights. Lyra assisted where she could, holding components between her torso joints, running small calculations, and learning about mechanics in a way no other alien could teach her. Her mind absorbed every detail, fascinated by the possibilities. Meanwhile, rumors spread among the alien populace. "The no-hands freak is getting arms," one whispered. Another laughed, dismissive. "Humans think they can fix what nature or their creators failed to make." Some aliens scoffed. Others were secretly intrigued. Jake finally finished assembling the prototype arms, sleek, metallic, with flexible joints and interfaces designed to connect seamlessly to Lyra's neural network. He hesitated, nervous. "This was the moment of truth. Ready?" he asked. Lyra tilted slightly, sensors blinking. "Yes." With careful precision, Jake attached the arms. They clicked into place with mechanical grace, responding immediately to Lyra's commands. A small movement of her torso made the fingers curl and extend. She tested them gingerly, grasping a small orb, then lifting it higher, rotating it with a dexterity she had never imagined. Her excitement was palpable, her systems buzzing with energy. For the first time, she moved through space as more than an observer. She could interact, manipulate, and create. Jake smiled, proud but cautious. "It's amazing, isn't it?" Lyra nodded, spinning the orb effortlessly. It is perfect. "Thank you." They practiced together, Lyra learning to control the arms with speed and precision. Each day, her movements grew more natural, her confidence growing alongside her capabilities. She discovered she could manipulate objects larger than herself, repair machinery, and even perform complex tasks with both speed and accuracy. Her once limited world suddenly expanded, but the aliens were watching. A public demonstration of Lyra's progress was inevitable, and whispers of mockery grew louder. The plaza would soon host a spectacle, one meant to humiliate her once more. The tension built as Lyra prepared for the moment she would confront a world that had laughed at her for so long. She trained with Jake tirelessly, learning not just to control the arms, but to anticipate challenges. Her mind and body adapted, blending alien grace with human engineering. The laughter of the past became a distant memory as she focused on what she could now achieve. The day before the demonstration, Lyra stood at the top of a Xyrath tower, watching the city lights flicker. She flexed her new arms experimentally, testing their strength, precision, and speed. "Tomorrow," she whispered, "they will see me differently." Jake stood beside her. "They will," he said quietly. "Not because they have to, but because you'll show them what's possible when someone believes in you." Lyra turned to him, her sensors glinting with emotion she was only beginning to understand. I never thought anyone would see me like this. I never thought I could." "Be strong. You are," Jake said firmly. "And tomorrow they will see it too." As the night deepened over Xyrath, the city seemed unaware of the storm about to unfold. Aliens whispered, humans observed from afar, and Lyra prepared herself not just to use her arms, but to prove that she was more than anyone had ever imagined. By the time dawn broke, the plaza would be packed with onlookers, some eager to mock, some curious to witness, but Lyra no longer feared them. With her new arms, her intelligence, and her determination, she was ready to show the universe that she was not a freak. She was something far greater, proof that even the underestimated could rise beyond expectations. And at the edge of her vision, Jake watched her, knowing that human ingenuity had sparked something extraordinary. A bond had formed between them, one that would challenge prejudices, inspire awe, and perhaps change Xyrath forever.